The headlights cut through the fog like knives through smoke. The road ahead twisted into darkness, swallowed by trees that stood too close, branches reaching over the asphalt like skeletal fingers. And then, in the rearview mirror, I saw it, a figure, standing in the middle of the road, motionless, watching. When I looked back through the windshield, the road was empty, but I could still feel it. Something was following me into the mountains. The Appalachian Mountains stretch across 13 states, a vast wilderness where civilization grows thin and the roads grow narrow. Millions drive through every year. Most make it home, but some roads in Appalachia don't follow maps. Some don't lead anywhere at all. And what you meet on those roads in the dead hours between midnight and dawn isn't always what it seems. These are 8 true stories from people who took that drive, who followed that road, and who came back changed. Sarah Mitchell was 23 when she drove Route 220 through West Virginia in October of 2017. It was her first time traveling alone. The sun had set hours ago, and the highway had emptied until hers was the only car for miles. She'd been driving for 3 hours when she noticed the fog rolling in, thick, unnatural. It pooled on the road like something alive, and her headlights barely pierced it. The radio had gone to static an hour back. No signal, no towns, just trees pressing in on both sides, endless and silent. That's when she saw the woman, standing on the shoulder of the road. Pale dress, long dark hair, barefoot. Sarah slowed down. The woman didn't move, didn't wave, just stood there, facing the road, her face hidden by shadows. Sarah stopped the car, rolled down the window, asked if she needed help. The woman turned her head, slowly, and Sarah saw her face. Blank, empty, no expression, no life in the eyes, just staring. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She hit the gas. The car lurched forward, and when she checked the mirror, the woman was gone. Vanished, like she'd never been there at all. But 10 miles down the road, Sarah saw her again. Same woman, same pale dress, standing in the exact same position. This time, Sarah didn't stop. She drove past, heart pounding, hands shaking on the wheel, and again, in the mirror, the woman disappeared. It happened 4 more times. Each time, the woman appeared further down the road. Each time, closer to the car. By the 6th sighting, the woman was standing in the middle of the lane. Sarah swerved, tires screeching. She didn't look back. She drove for 2 more hours without stopping, without slowing, until the fog lifted and the first lights of a town appeared. She never took that route again, but sometimes, late at night, she still sees that face, blank, empty, waiting. Before we go any deeper into these mountains, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Here at Chills from Reality, every story leaves a mark, one you might not forget. Now let's keep driving. Michael Torres was a truck driver, 31 years old. He'd driven through Appalachia 100 times, knew every route, every rest stop, every shortcut through the back roads. In March of 2019, he was hauling a load through eastern Kentucky, taking a detour through Route 15 to avoid traffic. It was 2 a.m. The road was empty, no streetlights, no houses. Just trees and darkness and the hum of the engine. He'd been driving for an hour when he saw the hitchhiker. A man, standing on the side of the road, thumb out. Michael slowed down. He wasn't supposed to pick up hitchhikers. Company policy. But something about the man made him stop. Maybe it was the cold. Maybe it was the isolation. Maybe it was the way the man just stood there, perfectly still, like he'd been waiting for hours. Michael pulled over. The man walked up to the passenger side, opened the door, got in without a word. He was thin, pale, wore an old jacket that looked like it hadn't been washed in months. His eyes were dark, too dark. Michael asked where he was headed. The man didn't answer, just stared ahead. Michael shrugged, started driving. 5 minutes passed in silence. 10. The cab was cold. Colder than it should have been. Michael turned up the heat. It didn't help. He glanced at the man. The man was still staring, not blinking, not moving. Michael asked again, "Where are you going?" The man turned his head, slowly, looked at Michael, and smiled. Not a friendly smile, not a human smile. His teeth were too white, too sharp, and his eyes, they were empty, like looking into a void. Michael's blood ran cold. He pulled over, told the man to get out. The man didn't move. Michael reached for the door handle, and the man spoke. His voice was low, hollow, like it came from somewhere deep underground. "You shouldn't have stopped." Michael's heart hammered in his chest. He shoved the door open, grabbed the man's arm to push him out, but his hand went through, like grabbing smoke. The man flickered, like a bad signal, and then he was gone. The seat was empty. The door hung open. The cold air rushed in. Michael sat there, breathing hard, staring at the empty seat. He didn't pick up another hitchhiker. Ever. Emma Zhao and her boyfriend, Jake, were driving through Virginia in the summer of 2020. They were on a road trip, heading south, taking the scenic routes through the mountains. It was late afternoon when they turned onto a narrow back road that wasn't on the GPS. Jake thought it would be a shortcut. Emma wasn't so sure. The trees closed in, the road turned to gravel. The sun dipped below the ridgeline, and the shadows grew long. They drove for 20 minutes without seeing another car, without seeing a house, without seeing anything but trees. That's when they saw the church. Small, wooden, old. It sat in a clearing just off the road, tilted slightly to one side, its white paint peeling in long strips. The windows were dark. The door hung open. There were no other buildings, no cemetery, no signs of life. Jake wanted to check it out. Emma said no, but Jake was already pulling over. He got out, walked toward the church. Emma stayed in the car, watching. Jake stepped through the open door, disappeared inside. Seconds passed. A minute. Emma called his name, no answer. She got out, walked to the door, looked inside. The church was empty, pews coated in dust, cobwebs hanging from the rafters. But no Jake. She called again. Her voice echoed, and then she heard it, singing, faint, coming from somewhere beneath the floor. A choir, voices layered over each other, old hymns. But wrong. The melody twisted, the words slurred. Emma backed out of the church, ran to the car, locked the doors, and then Jake appeared, walking out of the trees, not from the church, from the woods behind it. His face was pale, his eyes wide. He got in the car, didn't say a word. Emma asked what happened. Jake shook his head, said he didn't remember going into the woods, said he only remembered walking into the church, and then everything went black. They drove away, fast. But when Emma looked in the side mirror, she saw figures standing in front of the church. Dozens of them, all dressed in white, all facing the road, all perfectly still. When she blinked, they were gone. Daniel Reeves was a photographer. He drove through North Carolina in November of 2018, chasing the fall colors, looking for isolated spots to shoot. He found a dirt road that led deep into the mountains, miles from the nearest town. The trees were brilliant, gold and red and orange. The light was perfect. He drove until the road ended at a gate, locked. Beyond it, the road continued, overgrown with weeds. He parked, grabbed his camera, walked past the gate. The forest was silent. No birds, no wind, just the crunch of his boots on the dirt. He walked for half an hour, taking photos, moving deeper into the woods. That's when he found the house. It stood in the middle of a clearing, surrounded by overgrown grass. 2 stories, windows shattered. roof sagging. It looked abandoned, forgotten, but the front door was open, just a crack. Daniel approached, looked inside. The interior was dark, furniture covered in dust, wallpaper peeling. He stepped inside. The floor creaked under his weight. He moved through the room's camera rays, capturing the decay, and then he heard it. Footsteps. Upstairs. Slow, deliberate. Someone was walking above him. Daniel froze, called out, no answer. The footsteps continued, back and forth, back and forth. Daniel backed toward the door, and then he saw it. A shadow, moving across the wall upstairs. A figure, tall, thin. It stopped at the top of the stairs. Daniel didn't wait. He ran out the door, through the clearing, back to the road. He didn't stop until he reached his car. When he looked back, the house was still there, but the door was closed. He drove away, fast. Later, when he reviewed the photos on his camera, he found something. In one of the shots taken inside the house, there was a figure standing in the corner of the room, watching him. He hadn't seen it when he was there, but the camera had. Route 19 through Tennessee is a lonely stretch of highway that winds through the mountains, cutting through small towns that seem frozen in time. In September of 2021, Lisa Tran was driving through at night, heading to visit family. It was past midnight. The road was empty. She'd been driving for 2 hours when her car started acting up. The engine sputtered. The lights flickered. She pulled over to the side of the road, checked the engine. Everything looked fine. She got back in, tried to start the car. Nothing. The battery was dead. No phone signal, no cars passing, just darkness and the sound of the wind through the trees. She sat there for 20 minutes, trying to figure out what to do. And then she saw the lights, headlights, coming up the road behind her. She got out, waved her arms. The car slowed, stopped. An old pickup truck, rusted. The driver rolled down the window. An old man, weathered face, cold eyes. He asked if she needed help. Lisa said her car died. The man nodded, got out, looked at the engine, said he could give her a jump. He pulled his truck around, connected the cables. But when Lisa tried to start her car, it still wouldn't turn over. The man stared at her, said she'd have to come with him to his place. He had tools. Lisa hesitated. Something felt wrong. The way he looked at her, the way he smiled. She said she'd wait for another car. The man's smile faded. He stepped closer. Said there wouldn't be another car. Not tonight. Not on this road. Lisa's heart raced. She backed away. The man reached for her, and then another car appeared. Headlights flooding the road. The man stopped, turned. The car pulled up. A woman got out, asked if everything was okay. Lisa said yes, please. The woman nodded, told her to get in. Lisa didn't hesitate. She got in the car. The woman drove away. Lisa looked back. The old man stood in the road, watching. His truck was gone, like it had never been there. The woman didn't say a word, just drove. 10 miles down the road, she pulled over, told Lisa her car should start now. Lisa got out, walked back to her car, tried the ignition. It started. When she looked up to thank the woman, the car was gone. Just tire tracks in the dirt and silence. Would you have gotten into that truck? Or would you have known something was wrong? Tell me in the comments below. And if this story gave you chills, hit that like button. Now let's go deeper. David Park was driving through Georgia in April of 2022. He was a medical student, heading home after visiting his parents. It was late. He took a back road through the mountains to avoid traffic. The road was narrow, winding. He'd been driving for an hour when he saw the deer. Standing in the middle of the road, he slammed on the brakes. The car skidded, stopped inches from the animal. The deer didn't move, just stood there, staring at him. Its eyes reflected the headlights. Glowing, unblinking. David honked the horn. The deer didn't flinch. He waited. 1 minute, 2. The deer still didn't move. David opened the door, stepped out, shouted at the animal, and the deer turned, walked off the road, disappeared into the trees. David got back in the car, started driving, but something felt off. The road looked different. The trees were thicker, darker, and the road. It didn't look right. Like it was narrower than before, like the curves didn't match what he remembered. He drove for another hour. No towns, no signs, no other cars, just trees and darkness and the endless winding road. His GPS showed him on Route 76, but when he looked at the map, Route 76 shouldn't have been this long, shouldn't have been this empty. He kept driving, and then he saw the deer again. Same deer, same place, standing in the middle of the road. David stopped the car, stared. This wasn't possible. He'd driven for an hour. He couldn't be in the same spot. He got out, walked toward the deer, and the deer spoke. Its voice was low, guttural, human. Turn around. David froze. His blood went cold. The deer's mouth didn't move, but he heard the voice. Clear, close. Turn around. David stumbled backward, got in the car, turned around, drove back the way he came. And 10 minutes later, he saw a sign. Route 76, the way he'd been going before. He drove straight through, didn't stop. When he got home, he checked his GPS history. The hour he'd been driving, it didn't exist. No data, no route, like he'd never been there at all. The last story comes from a couple, Mark and Jessica Reynolds. They were driving through the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia in December of 2023. They were on their way to a cabin they'd rented for Christmas. It was snowing. The roads were slick. They'd been driving for 3 hours when they missed their turn. Ended up on a back road that wasn't on the GPS. Mark said they should turn around. Jessica said to keep going. Maybe it connected to the main road. They drove for 20 minutes. The snow got heavier. The trees closed in. And then they saw the lights. Ahead, through the snow, a small town, lights in windows, smoke rising from chimneys. Mark pulled over, said they should ask for directions. They got out, walked into town. The streets were empty. The buildings were old, Victorian, painted in faded colors. Christmas lights hung from the eaves, but they didn't blink, didn't move, just glowed. Soft, steady. Mark knocked on a door. No answer. Tried another. Nothing. Jessica felt something wrong. The air was too still, too quiet. No wind, no sound. She tugged on Mark's arm, said they should go. Mark agreed. They turned to leave, and then they saw the people standing in the street. Dozens of them, all dressed in old-fashioned clothes, long coats, hats, dresses from another era. All standing perfectly still. All facing Mark and Jessica. No one spoke. No one moved. Just stared. Mark grabbed Jessica's hand. They ran back to the car, got in, locked the doors. Mark started the engine, and the people started walking, slowly, toward the car, in unison, like they were one entity. Mark floored it. The car fishtailed in the snow. He drove, fast. The town disappeared behind them. And when they looked back, there was nothing. No lights, no buildings, just trees and snow and darkness. They found the main road 20 minutes later, made it to the cabin, but when they tried to find the town on a map, it wasn't there. No town, no roads, nothing. Jessica searched online, found an old article from 1947. A town in that area had been abandoned after a mine collapse. Everyone left. But some locals said the town never really died. That on snowy nights, you could still see the lights, still see the people, walking the streets, waiting for someone to stay. The Appalachian Mountains hold secrets. Roads that don't exist, towns that shouldn't be there, faces in the fog, voices in the dark. And once you've driven those roads, once you've seen what hides in the mountains, you carry it with you, in your rearview mirror, in the silence between heartbeats. Some say the mountains are haunted, others say they're alive, that they watch, that they remember, that they call to those who pass through. And some roads, once you take them, you never really leave. You just keep driving, through the fog, through the darkness, forever. If this story made your heart race, hit that like button and subscribe. Because here at Chills from Reality, the fear doesn't end when the story does. And maybe the next time you drive through the mountains, you'll think twice before taking that shortcut, before stopping for that stranger, before following that road into the dark. Because in Appalachia, not everyone who watches from the trees is human, and not everyone who waves you down wants to help. Some just want you to stop, to stay, to become part of the mountain, part of the fog, part of the stories people tell late at night, when the roads grow empty and the mountains start to whisper.